Hey guys, today I'm going to try to offer you some tips on how to play Friend of God by Israel Houghton. A little bit of a disclaimer, Israel Houghton has an incredibly cool, funky, awesome guitar style. So the chords that I'm going to show you today he definitely uses, but you can see YouTube videos where he plays with a band or sometimes with another guitarist or sometimes just himself and the guitar, and there are always going to be subtle improvisations and changes and things that he might do differently from performance to performance. But I think the main chord structure stays pretty much the same. And he's just an incredibly talented individual. And so some requests have come in, and some friends have asked, can you at least get me started to get headed in that direction? So that's really what this video is all about today. I'm just going to show you some basic chord structures. We're not going to get too technical into the strumming. I'm not a technician in terms of strumming. You know, everything that I do, I just kind of do by ear anyway. And so if you're looking for strumming patterns on the verse versus strumming patterns on the bridge, you're going to have to find some other expert for that, because I just play it how I hear it. And hopefully at the end of this video you'll have taken something into your guitar repertoire that can help you in the future. So first of all, let me tell you that I have my guitar tuned down a half step. That way I can try to eke out the notes singing. Obviously I don't have the range that Israel Houghton has, but I feel like in order to play the song you have to kind of sing it a little bit. So to even come close, I've tuned it down a half step. So if you're playing your guitar in A440, playing with me, you're going to sound a little bit off. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to change your tuning necessarily. As long as you're focusing on the chords, you're going to be okay. Or if you like, you can tune it down a half a step. So I'm gonna call the chords out like it's not tuned down a half a step. So the first chord is an E5, and the E5 is made up going from the top down. So the big fat string we're going to call the 6th string, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the purpose of this video. So if you go to the 7th fret and put your index finger on 7th fret and 5th string, and then your ring finger on the 4th string, 9th fret, and the 3rd string from the bottom on the 9th fret, you're going to put your pinky. It's an E5. If you look this chord up either online or in your chord catalog, you're going to find this chord. So that's the first chord, E5. And then we're going to basically keep that same formation, but you're going to take your middle finger and you're going to try to wrap it around. You're leaving your ring finger and your pinky exactly where they are. Try to get you a good angle so you can see this. Leave the ring finger, pinky exactly where they are, and wrap that middle finger around to the 9th fret. So you're holding the top string, 9th fret, skip a string to the 4th, 9th fret, that's where your ring finger is, and then the next string, your G string or your 3rd string from the bottom, 9th fret, you've got your pinky there. That's going to be your second chord, okay? And then in addition, there's some little bounces that he does, I think, and we'll kind of get into that when we start playing through the chorus. So that's E5, that's your first chord. Wrap that middle finger around. I don't remember exactly what that chord is called. You'll have to look it up, and there are many ways that you can do that. I'm not going to get into that for this video. I'm just going to show you how to play it. That's the second chord. And then the exact same chord, okay? You're going to slide all the way back to where your middle finger and your ring finger and your pinky, they stay on the same strings, but now they're going to be in the 2nd fret. Okay? So that's the first 3 chords. 1, 2, 3. The 4th chord in the song is a D chord, and you can do that multiple ways. And like I said before, if you watch Israel Houghton play, he probably knows more D chords than anybody on this planet. So you can go, I believe it's called a D5, if memory serves me. Basically, it is the 3rd string from the bottom, 2nd fret, and then your middle finger, ring finger, pardon me, on the 3rd fret, 2nd string from the bottom. Basic D chord, but lift your middle finger. Okay, there's another way to do it. You can do it with the exact same formation that we do that E5 that's in the beginning, but it's 2 frets back. So from the 5th fret, go down 1 string, 5th string, index finger, 5th fret, 3rd string from the top, 4th from the bottom, ring finger, 7th fret, and then 7th fret, next string down, which is a G string on your pinky. That's also a D shape that you can use. Okay, so 1st chord, 2nd chord, 3rd chord, D or D, and then back to the E. Okay, so let's play that chorus just real soft and easy, or the verse, pardon me. Who am I that you are, that's E5, mindful, wrap that finger around, of me, that you, back to the 2nd fret, hear me, when I call, back to the E. Just keeping it real simple right now. Is it true that you are thinking of me, how you love me? Here's your D. It's amazing, or it's amazing. Then you can slide right up to that D. I am a friend of God. Basically the same chord pattern that we use for the verse. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend. It's really that simple for the verse and the chorus. Those are the chords that are involved, okay? So a couple little things that he does you can kind of add, and this is just one small little nugget from Israel Houghton's mind. So when you're in that E5, if you take where your pinky's at, lift your pinky and drop your middle finger on that fret directly behind where the pinky was. So now you're going from the 3rd string from the bottom, G string, pinky, 9th fret, back to the 8th fret, and in order to get that, you're going to use your middle finger. So you're just dropping a little half step here. Here's what it sounds like together. Okay, you can throw that in there. Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call? So you just use that to fill in wherever and just kind of bounce around with that. Just kind of experiment. Now when you go to the 2nd chord, so who am I that you are mindful of me, you can also throw in a little bounce here. It's the same exact notes. Okay, so in order to do that, you're going to need to use your index finger, which is now free, and drop it on the 8th fret, 3rd string from the bottom, right behind where the pinky is, and lift your pinky so it sounds like this. See how it just throws a little, it's real simple to do. It's just one finger lifting, the other finger going down, but it changes that whole chord and makes it sound really nice and full. And you can play around with the rhythms and make that kind of interesting too. So let's go to the bridge part, and then we're going to go through verse, chorus, and then bridge in my own meager and humble way, just to kind of give you some of the rhythm. Okay, so God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend. So it goes to I forget what these chords are even called, but it's an A shape, right? A5, A3, A, your mama, I don't know. God Almighty, and then the same structure that we've used here and here, we're going to go here to the 4th fret. Okay, so it kind of it acts like a little bit of a walk down. So God Almighty, Lord of glory, then back 2 frets. You have called me friend. Stay there. Go to the A again. God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend. It's really that simple. And you can add anything that you want. That's just the basic skeleton of chords. It sounds a little bit like this. Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me